There you go. Like, click, and subscribe. Do all that. This is week 2, Sunday early games. And right now, we about to have the 49ers and the Jets. Yeah, the 49ers beat the Jets 31-13, but it came at a major price. Let's get you the stats, though. As you can see, Mostert, he ran there. Jimmy G was 14-16, 131 yards, 2 TDs. Raheem Mostert, 92 yards at a TD, as you just saw. Jordan Reed had 50 yards and 2 TDs. I didn't even know Jordan Reed was there, but he took the place of George Kittle at the injury that he suffered last week. Sam Darnold, 21 for 32, 177 yards and a TD. Frank Gore had 63 yards. I didn't even know Frank Gore was on the team. Braxton Burrows, 59 yards and a TD. Yeah, and like I said, easy win, but Jimmy G got injured. He tried to fight through the pain, but he was injured. He was out for the rest of the game after halftime. Nick Bosa got injured and was out for the game. Solomon Thomas was out and injured in the game. Both Nick Bosa and Solomon Thomas, they had to get the card out for him. I was like, God damn. I mean, it's ridiculous. Raheem Mostert ended up being out after the game, too, after the run. Richard Sherman, Deebo Samuels, and George Kittle, like I said, they were already out heading into this game. I mean, it was a ridiculous amount of injuries. Like, what a price to pay for, just beating up on the Jets. Like that. I mean, if it came down to that, it was like, damn, they might as well just left everybody off the field or something like that. But like 49ers suffered a great deal of injuries after this win, man. And then next up, you had the Bears versus the Giants. Yeah, in this one, the Bears beat the Giants 17-13. Let's get to the stats. Daniel Jones, 25 of 40, 246 yards at a pick. Dion Lewis had 20 yards at a TD. Evan Ingram had about 65 yards. Mitch Trubisky was 18 for 28, 190 yards, 2 TDs, and 2 picks. David Montgomery had 128 yards at a TD. You know what I mean? Well, the big story taken away from here is Saquon Barkley being out, and that's the injury that he suffered. It was a light tackle, whatever, but as you see, he's pounding his fist on the ground. Yeah. I mean, a decent tackle. He just landed, I guess, wrong. And because of this, now the Giants really don't have anybody but Saquon Barkley, and he's injured. He goes out in the game. And now the doctor's saying that he has a torn ACL. That's never good. 9 times out of 10, you're either sitting out for a little bit or you out for the season. So, yeah, that's not good at all, especially for the Giants. But Mitch Trubisky gets his second win, and they beat him 17-13. Next game, you have the Packers versus the Lions. Usually when it comes to Aaron Rodgers and Matt Stafford, these games are usually close. But today, not so much. Packers beat the Lions 42-21. Aaron Rodgers, he was 18 of 30, 240 yards, 2 TDs. Aaron Jones, clearly the man of the day. He had 236 yards and 3 TDs. He was running all over the Lions. Matt Stafford, 20 for 33, 244 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. Kerryon Johnson, 32 yards and a TD. Marvin Hall, 24 yards and a TD. Even Marvin Jones Jr. finally helped out. He was helping out people in fantasy leagues as he got a TD towards the third or fourth quarter. So, Marvin Jones is back. But bottom line is, no matter him being back, it wasn't enough to stop the Packers. Once again, Packers beat them 42-21. And up next is the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Tennessee Titans. The Titans beat the Jaguars in a close one. This one was 33-30, but let's get to the stats. Ryan Tannehill, 18 for 24, 239 yards and 4 TDs. Derrick Henry, 84 yards. Jonnu Smith, 84 yards and 2 TDs. Gardner Minshew, 30 for 45, 339 yards, 3 TDs, 2 picks. James Robinson had 102 yards and a TD. Keenan Cole had 58 yards and a TD. Like I said, this one was a hard battle, you know what I mean? And it ended on a field goal. Steven Gronkowski got it right this time again in the last minute and 30 seconds of the game. I don't know what it is about Gronkowski. He be playing like absolute trash during the games, but when it finally counts, he'll bang one through. You know what I'm saying? He's done that back-to-back weeks. So it's like, what's really going on with him? It's weird. But bottom line is this was a good one. Gardner Minshew and Ryan Tannehill had damn near perfect games. It was back-to-back. So, the beef was real. And, You know what I'm saying? Jacksonville doesn't look like a tanking team, even though they got rid of everybody. So bottom line here in this one is, this is a great game. 33-30, Titans. And here you have the Vikings versus the Colts. This game, however, was painful to my eyes. I'm not even going to front. Mainly because of Kirk Cousins absolutely getting destroyed in this one. The Colts beat the Vikings 28-11. But let's get to the stats. Kirk Cousins, 11 for 26, 133 yards and 3 picks. Dalvin Cook got 63 yards at a TD, helping out my fantasies. Justin Jefferson, 44 yards. Phillip Rivers, 19 for 25, 214, 1 TD, 1 pick. Jonathan Taylor, 101 yards at a TD. Mo Alley Cox had 111 yards. Colts defense legitimately punished Kirk Cousins all damn day long. They sacked Kirk in the end zone for a safety, and that is the second safety back-to-back weeks he's been distributed on in games. One's against the Packers and now against the Colts. What is going on with Kirk Cousins? He needs to get his head out of his ass and get his mind straight. Or we could just chalk it up to the fact that the Colts defense was just that good on him. And apparently, I don't think the Vikings have ever beat the Colts in their territory. I think the Vikings are like 0-8 when it comes to beating the Colts at home. So there you go. And I guess clearly they went 0-9 in this one, but that's crazy. Next up, you got the Rams versus the Eagles. Cam Akers is out in this game too. Like, the injury total was crazy this week. You know what I mean? But Rams ended up beating the Eagles 37-19. Jared Goff was 20 for 27, 267 yards and 3 TDs. Darrell Henderson had 81 yards and 1 TD. Tyler Higbee was the player of the game, 54 yards and 3 TDs, helping out my fantasies. Thank you. Carson Wentz, 26 of 43, 242 yards, and he gave 2 picks again. He is 2-pick Carson right now. 2 picks in the first game and 2 picks in this one. Miles Sanders had 95 yards at a TD. Deshaun Jackson had 64 yards. And like I just said, for the second straight week, Carson Wentz threw 2 picks. What is going on with Carson? Now, granted, the Rams do have a defense, but I don't know what happened with him last week against the DC squad, because I'm not calling on the Washington football team. I will not do that. But bottom line here is Carson Wentz either needs some help or I don't know what the deal is. But bottom line here is the Rams beat the Eagles. And up next, you got the Steelers versus the Broncos. And the Steelers take this game 26-21. Big Ben, 29-41, 311 yards, 2 TDs, 1 pick. James Conner had 106 yards at a TD. Deontay Johnson had 92 yards at a TD. Jeff Driscoll, 18-34, 256 yards and 2 TDs and 1 pick. And you're wondering why I'm saying Jeff Driscoll? Because Drew Lock gets injured in the game too. Because I was like, oh man, like their quarterback got injured. Now, keep in mind, Philip Lindsay was already injured heading into this game, so he wasn't going to play. So a lot of injuries been going around, you know what I'm saying? But let me continue on with the stats. Melvin Gordon, 84 yards at a TD. Noah Fant, 57 yards at a TD. And it's just, yeah, man, it was just a lot that took it out in this game. It's just been injury week, man. Like, it's crazy. But, and there's the injury on Drew Lock, as you just saw right there. But, the injuries just been piling up week 2. Like, week 2 was just not, this is an unlucky week. You know what I mean? But bottom line here is Pittsburgh beats Denver 26-21. And next up, you got the Carolina Panthers versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So Tom Brady led his Buccaneers to the promised land on this day. They beat the Panthers 31-17. Tom Brady, 23-35, 272 yards, 1 TD, 1 pick. Leonard Fournette got into the action today, 103 yards and 2 TDs. Mike Evans got into action early, 104 yards and a TD. Teddy Bridgewater, 33 for 42, 367 yards, but he had 2 picks, 2 crucial picks. Christian McCaffrey, 59 yards and 2 TDs. But the crazy thing about Christian McCaffrey, he got injured later on too. He'll be out the game, but he did his job. And it's crazy with the injuries. It doesn't make it's just ridiculous this week. DJ Moore, he had 120 yards. It did. But the thing was, Teddy was getting beat up in this game. He got sacked 5 times in this one and basically just getting punished. Well, he's getting punished by a top 5 defense over there in Tampa Bay. But still, he was getting punished in this game. It was crazy. Yep. And then next we got the Buffalo Bills versus the Miami Dolphins. The Bills beat the Dolphins in a hard-fought battle, 31-28. Josh Allen, 25-36, 424 yards and 4 TDs. Devin Singletary, 56 yards. Stephon Diggs, 153 yards and a TD. Ryan Fitzpatrick, 30 for 46, 326 yards and 2 TDs. He didn't throw no picks in this one, so, you know what I mean? Bottom line is he's improving again. Myles Gaskins, 46 yards. Mike Gesicki, 129 yards and a TD. And like I said, this was a close game all the way through, and both teams really turned it up in the fourth quarter. But bottom line was, Buffalo got the win here, 31-28. And now we got to save the goofiness for last. Atlanta Falcons taking on the Dallas Cowboys. And I swear to goodness, if I was Matty Ice right now, I'd be lining people up in the firing squad and just letting loose off rounds everybody on the field. I'd be the pissed off man of the entire goddamn planet. But let's get to the stats. The Cowboys made a comeback and beat the Falcons 40-39. Dak Prescott, 34 for 47, 450 yards, a TD, and 3 rushing TDs. Dalton Schultz, 88 yards and a TD. Matt Ryan, 24 yards and 36, 273 yards and 4 TDs. Todd Gurley, 61 yards. Calvin Ridley, 109 yards and 2 TDs. We gonna call him 2 TD Calvin Ridley. Yes, because he be helping my fantasies out. Falcons forced 3 strip fumbles early on Dak Prescott, on Ezekiel Elliott, and on Dalton Schultz. They had 3 strip sacks, and all of them capitalized on points. They were up 29-10 at halftime. Do you want to know what happened after halftime? Leave it to Atlanta to blow goddamn leads. This was worse, literally, than the Super Bowl against the Patriots back in 2017. That's right. They've been blowing leads on and off since then. You know what I'm saying? You let Dak make the comeback and run all over you in the second half. 30 points, 16 in the fourth quarter, 3 rushing TDs. Oh my God, like it doesn't even make any sense. The irony about all this is you get a strip sack on Dak in the first half. Dak comes back and rushes for like 3 TDs in the second half. You get a strip sack on Ezekiel Elliott in the first half. Second half, Zeke comes back and gets some yards and gets a TD. You get a strip sack on Dalton Schultz, who replaced the injured Blake Jarwin in the first half. Dalton Schultz comes back with some yards and a TD in the second half. They all cashed in their receipts on the early goofiness that took place from the miscues. I can't even get this, like seriously, yo, this shit blows my mind. But you want to know the funny thing, even about all that, after all that goofiness? Just look at this. Like this is after they scored. They're down by 2 points. It's 1:49 seconds left. And then he's going to set up for the onside. Now, I want you to watch the Atlanta Falcons. I want you to watch them as they're, quote unquote, trying to crowd around it before it gets to the 10-yard. Like, it doesn't make any sense at all. Like, this is freaking ridiculous. Look at it. They didn't even tip the crowd. Look at them. They're scattered around it, just doing whatever. Like, just jump on the ball. You know, at least you would have got a penalty or something. Like, and then y'all crowd around it, and guess who got the ball back? Guess who got the ball back, yo? You see where they're pointing. Dallas gets the freaking ball. It's ridiculous. And then, you know, Greg Zuerlein gets the game-winning kick, a 46-yard attempt. But it's just, I mean, like I said, kudos to Dallas for making the comeback. That's great and all. But the Atlanta Falcons is the biggest choke game you've ever had your entire life, including the Patriots Super Bowl one. This makes no sense to me. As somebody's getting fired over there, I guarantee you. I have no doubt in my mind that Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, is about to turn ice cold and start lacing anybody. Hey, if head coach Dan Quinn gets in his way, I guarantee you he's getting the pump out. He's going to start lacing niggas point blank, period. It doesn't make any sense with these blown leads. This is what Atlanta does. It doesn't make it, I'm telling you, they're going to start riots over there. Like I said, Matty Ice is going to lead the troops. He's had enough. He's pissed off. And bottom line is, they blow another lead. Cowboys beat them 40-39. It doesn't make any damn sense.